Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Great Wizard Bukake, your host. Our heroes are returning to Asgard after saving Daggerford. Butthole became friends and pen pals with King Melandrach. Juniper had an argument with a mule, and Quinny was cured of his zombie disease by Fallonmeyer Pinkblossom. But what has changed in Asgard while they were away? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
Dum-Dums, you have returned home after almost dying in a swampy pit.
I was fine. Wasn't worried for a minute.
Yeah.
Handled it cool as a cucumber.
Nothing phases Juniper. You successfully killed and drove off the Dragon Costalancer and his zombified equivalent. You hammer smacked Red Eye, the lizard folk leader, off a dragon, off a ledge, recovered his body, showed it to some folks. You brought peace to Daggerford and new alliances between the Lizard Marsh and the people of Daggerford before taking a Quinny who was infected with a zombie virus to the Misty Forest for healing. After spending an evening in some Ewok, like eco lodge glamping tent spaces, you got a bit of rest. Everybody kept checking on Quinny. Fallonmeyer Pinkblossom showed up and used her magics to heal up Quinny. Who's now disease-free, as checked by Juniper to make sure that Fallonmeyer didn't just like tap him on the nose and leave, which admittedly could have been what happened. In this case, it wasn't, but you never know. Butthole, you talked to Fallonmeyer for a bit, and then also spoke to King Melandrach, the King of the Wood, and discussed with him kind of the nature of regret and grief and the burden of ruling. He kind of had an inverse experience to what you've experienced and was seeking your counsel. That's one of the first times you've been able to just kind of chill with another leader of a nation and have a conversation. Usually you're talking to envoys and things or soldiers they've sent or what have you. And you comported yourself very well. You had some beer and nuts with the king and helped him kind of see a way forward. And you've departed having made a friend and also left an open invitation for him to just kind of like swing by for guys' night to talk about feelings and
and we're pen pals now.
Talk through stuff and share your thoughts with each other. So with all that being done, the three of you and Goblin Jr. have stepped back through the portal to Asgard, which is where we pick up. So with the standard kind of lurching discomfort that comes from stepping through a portal, you arrive back in Asgard in your like. I believe forgive me, it's been a hot second. The portal is in a bunker, or the portal is...
A bunker was built around the portal inside the palace.
Right. So you step out into the basement of the palace. You've only been gone for like a day and a bit. It was just a very eventful day and a bit. Or 2 days, I guess. You worked overnight, and then you slept overnight. So you've been gone for 2 nights. So you return to the castle, and Ryan, you mentioned off air that you have a list of things that Butthole is curious about doing.
Yeah, he's got to find Annan because he's got a list of meetings that he wants to have. One is with Annan. He needs to he'd like to call Mosiphius Dirt to have a chat with him. He also needs to have a chat with either Reginald or Vismuth, whoever's in the building, and he needs to schedule a time to have a sit down with Cormium. But that needs to be a request to Cormium. Butthole wants to be very specific. It's not now we will talk at this time. He's like asking to visit. This guy's getting full. He's a guest in an apartment privileges. No prisoner stuff.
Yeah. So, the three of you step out back into Asgard. And I think would get word of it pretty quickly. No one else uses the portal. So it's not like it's a bustling transit hub. It's like if it lights up, it's you guys. So she arrives flanked by hammerers and just kind of nods to both of them and says, welcome back, Your Majesty, Minister, Chief.
Annan?
Successful outing?
Yeah, not perfect, but overall went really well. Made some friends, did all that kind of stuff. I realized we are lacking some certain capabilities that we're really going to need on an ongoing basis. So I got a couple of meetings I want to schedule. And he just like hands her a list that he wrote out while he was like, he hung out with the king. He had to sit for a bit. Like it was fine. He's got a chance to put that together and be like, these are all the meetings that I need to have today. Otherwise, how are things here? I'm assuming nothing's on fire. What we've learned is how much can change in 2 days. How much has changed in 2 days?
She says, well, and she kind of gestures over her shoulder to the hammers. She says, things were briefly on fire, but luckily some of the assorted heroes who were here managed to...
So they set something on fire.
Some raiders did. We had our first encounter with raiders, which is, I guess, a thing we need to be on the ball about. But yes, it would seem that some of the deserters from our fine former nation and other various armies, Cormium, have banded together into a group calling themselves the Ghost Skull Brigade. They raided the southwest edge of Asgard. They didn't manage to make it very far into the city. Luckily, a lot of the sort of heroes for hire who have been around were in the process of clearing out the marketplace and getting it set up for future use when the attack came. It would seem that because of the intel about the city, the raiders assumed that that'd be a safe place to infiltrate, not unlike you all did. But they did so only to find a bunch of heroes hanging out in there. Of particular note, the Knight Azrael and the chain dagger fighter Logan were in particularly fine form. There was a half-orc paladin named Orzark, who also lent a hand. The three of them made short work of the enemies and have been recounting the tales. I will allow them to speak for themselves in terms of how the combat went. But happily, the Ghost Skull Brigade did not make it far into the city at all, but we did lose a couple of buildings on the edge. This is something...
Did we lose any people?
No.
Oh, good.
I viewed these champions when they arrived as a problem to be solved, and Juniper, I appreciate that you kind of gave them a task. I was worried we'd be setting them to a lot of sort of busy work as we waited for the Hall of Heroes and the, is it Crendon's Commandos?
Yeah, they start as the Asgard, and then they can work their way up to Crendon Commandos, and then we're still figuring out if it's a diamond or an S tier. We're not sure what's above that. Not truly important right now, though. How many of this Ghost Skull Brigade are there? I'm sorry, you're going to get the military questions because you're here.
That's fine. I don't have a tremendous amount of answers for you. We were attacked by a band of about 20, but there are likely more. They did manage to escape. A couple of them were killed, but they recovered the bodies and fled. Again, I suspect they were looking for low-hanging fruit, and instead they were met by lance, chain blade, and sword. So to be clear, I don't know that we need to worry about these folks attacking us on the daily. I think they were looking for an easy in on a town that doesn't have an army or walls. But we have the heroes now patrolling, and we have Reginald has sent out teams of hammerers, that sort of thing. We have better observation around the edges, but yes, they're a threat in the region. We should expect these from time to time, and particularly with no walls, this is just something we'll have to account for.
Yeah, my belief is that we should make an example of this first group, both in terms of offering them the chance to surrender and be judged and rehabilitate and become a meaningful part of society. Otherwise, we need to eliminate them. Otherwise, the populace is going to feel like they're in tremendous danger all the time without a military. And other groups are definitely going to show up if we're just seeming like a sitting duck.
Well, the Knight Azrael was very insistent that he be allowed to pursue them back to their base and make an example of them. When he suggested this, Logan Hale immediately suggested, no, he should be the one to hunt them down, and the two of them argued somewhat, and then the paladin, who seems to have found an affection for both of them, this Orzark reminds me a bit of you, Butthole, when you burst into taverns, who seems to respect strength a great deal, threw an arm around both of them, and yelled, "We three should do it! We three glorious adventurers!" And there was more arguing, but needless to say, they seem very eager to deal with this problem. So if you would like, I'm sure we can send them out to at least scout the situation or perhaps even bring it to an end.
They didn't go? After all that, nobody went?
I have issued no orders because I am the hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
If they want to work here, they got to answer to Crendon. Crendon's probably not going to make those decisions. We're coming back in like a day. They knew the portal turnaround time.
Okay, all right.
No. Also, we don't know how large a threat this is. We could send 3 people to die, and then we get a reputation that if you are a hero and you come here, we send you to die. Or we could have a think about this and determine how we want to
move forward, which is what we're going to do today.
Once we have an official quest system set up, it'll be a lot easier to send adventurers like this out. They will know the risks, etc. I just felt odd issuing military orders to 3 random visitors to town. I didn't want to send the tourists to go murder.
Correct. I think you made a very, very good decision. Let's put talking with Reginald and Vismuth on the list.
Writes down.
Okay.
Otherwise, things have been relatively calm. We have managed to move the content hut inside the walls. We've created a small, highly secured chamber. We consulted with Reginald on its construction.
Oh, great.
We've dubbed it Cerebro. It is a small room where you can sit and observe the content hut, or use it as you see fit, but also work your way through the various broadcasts coming in from Captain Plantier. The group that moved it, the work crew, has also been enlisted and have been very helpful in the ongoing struggle with decommissioning the various electric fences set up in the Noble District. Luckily, their company was the one that installed these some time ago, so they have some working knowledge of it. The nobles are angry about it, and you will find the patriarch of the Bellwinter family is very eager to meet with you and I believe yell at you. So,
all right, add them to the list. So hopefully some of these meetings will be short.
Yeah.
I mean, they won't be, but I'll hope.
Yeah.
Do you want help with any of these?
Let me take a look at the list. He takes the list back. He looks at it and he's like, Bellwinter, I don't really know what's coming into that meeting, and I don't have a lot of leverage on that guy. However, he has no other options, which is fine. Cormium, I know what I mean. Like, a lot of this just seems like it's going to be bullshit. I mean, I'd especially like you there for this Skull Brigade, whatever bullshit.
Absolutely.
Like, that feels like something we should all be there for. I'm happy to have you there for any of it. We're just going through the motions. I wanted us to be more combat ready anyways, honestly, because especially with the hammers and other stuff, I realized we're kind of a bit cash.
Who can I talk to about collaborating on this Hero Academy thing with, like, getting quests and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, Crendon's going to be running it.
That'll be Crendon? Okay, I'm going to talk to Crendon about some stuff.
Okay,
some
great.
Minister of Culture stuff.
Sure.
I just have to talk with Lexi. I kind of abandoned her. I was supposed to meet her last night.
Oh. Is this like a romance thing?
No. Ekka was going to recount some highlights from the Baldur's Gate adventure so she could start writing songs about you and
that's
about
cool.
us.
Okay, I should do my meeting with Cormium if he's willing to take it, and then we should talk right after that, because there may be strategically, there may be some linking there.
Sure.
And then Annan, having heard you just say it to Juniper, says, and is that a romantic meeting?
This one's more business.
I see. What role do you intend to give him, just so I can mentally prepare myself for Plantier working the...
Well, I got to see if he wants to do it. Otherwise, there's no point in walking down a whole path.
She has a little...
what are you offering to him to just see if he wants to do?
Okay. We got to take this somewhere private. This is not a conversation I want to have with like a bunch of hammers and gatekeepers and other stuff.
Okay.
All right. She also raises her hand and just says, Butthole, as king, you can do whatever you like. So if you just want to go offer it to him, that's fine.
I'm fine with discussing it. I just don't need a ton of people knowing right now. Because if he says no, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just like, come out of the side. Okay,
she
great.
says, I'll order some bagels. All right, everyone, upstairs. Get in the elevator. Tyler, what music plays in the elevator as we go up?
Oh, geez. Daybreak. Yeah.
Yeah. And just says, we've been getting various musical enchantments on the elevator, so it doesn't just play the same song every time. You should expect more variety.
Okie dokie. That's cool. I can just talk to you guys here. This doesn't need to really be a thing. Basically, there's like Mava Santa Water or whatever working with Captain Plantier.
Silverwater.
I don't care what her name is, but she's there. She's doing like evil propaganda, and it's working because everywhere we're going, people won't shut the fuck up about this captain. So I got to find out if the stupid. I got ideas on how to get some distribution methods, but like we don't have a person who does communications for us, or like makes us sound good, or makes people aware of us, or has people basically it's a real battle to try to establish who the hell we are and what we're doing anywhere we go, and we have zero ability in this regard. And we have someone who is an expert at being hearts and minds. And admittedly, a lot of his strategy was being very good looking and then betraying everyone. But those two things come off the table. So we can have him kind of work in the shadows if we want until he wants to step into the light. But we need somebody who's our like minister of communications.
How do you get a face that works in the shadows?
Well,
is that up to him to figure out?
Well, you know how Captain Plantier did the weird broadcast and everyone thought he's nice now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how somebody had to tell him to do that?
Mavis Silverwater?
Yeah, so that's ours. Cormium could tell people what to say, and then we know how to, like, put it on screen or whatever.
Right, but isn't he recognizable as Cormium Plantier?
Well, I mean, there's only so much time before the fact he's here gets out. That's
Okay.
just the thing. And if Captain Plantier's playing his, like, I'm a nice guy, he can't really show up and stomp Cormium into the ground. We can let Cormium figure out how he wants to introduce himself. He's good at propaganda.
Okay.
So we have somebody who can, like, spread the good word.
And as I understand it, you do have a helmet for him if you need it. She kind of rolls her eyes at this. She's not thrilled to hear about the helmet and scoop hands.
No, he's not wearing that ever again. That was a one-time thing to make sure that Butthole
see.
could make clear decisions without his wiles and stuff like that. He did. Whatever Butthole decides to do going forward is fine.
Also, if we get Cormium to do it, if he's willing, which is its own question, we generally want to be positive, and we're not looking to run like a we hate Captain Plantier campaign.
Right.
I mean, I'd love it, but I don't think it would go over very well. It's not really the vibe of Asgard. And we have a political expert who theoretically can't even say the name, so it's impossible to do attack ads.
I will also say that although I have a variety of skills when left to my own devices, the best I could settle on is We Are Anon. So I wouldn't mind someone with a little bit more mind to that. On the written page, sings, as you know from the book. But yes, having a minister of propaganda or I don't know.
Minister of Communications sounds a little less
yes.
evil.
Minister of Communications would be helpful. Might also help in case any arts and culture things get out of hand. But we also have legitimate arts and culture things starting up, and it wouldn't be bad to get word of that out, particularly to make sure we have the caliber of performer. Although, again, we've gotten very lucky with the some of the champions we've seen so far. There was one who seemed very insistent on burning things to prevent. He wanted to burn the markets so that the Ghost Skull Brigade couldn't get it. We've made sure that guy is simply cleaning up messes, not starting them.
Good. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Oh, and I had another idea, Anna, that's like ding, and we just arrive at like, we go to the throne room here. Okay,
sorry. While we're installing the music, the elevator goes much slower, so we can have longer conversations. But yes,
there's conversation. I see. There's the conversational speed. Then you can turn it back to like functional going rooms.
Yeah, don't push the bell. No one knows what it does, but it seems to just stop things from working.
So I had a thought on. Obviously, if we're going to try to get the word out, we can't use the Content Hut / Tyrell portal because Bringo's probably biased at this point, which means we need our own way to create something popular that is in a bunch of places where we can advertise with it. And Grandpa Warwick made a great realization for all of us, which is there is a large portion of the population that does not understand how Bringo works. And with the loss of Porn Hut, they do not know how to get their pornography.
Why don't they just go to the 7-Eleven on one of the 11 days a year it's open?
It turns out a shocking number of them don't stock pornography.
What's the point of 7-Eleven if it doesn't stock pornography?
Exactly, but that means there's an opening in the market. So I think, because we heard people were like, where would they get their pornography? And somebody was like, maybe down a well. And I realized we have an opportunity either to scoop the Porn Hut IP, but I think that may be lost. I think that's probably owned by the Tyrell. We could create what I like to call the porn hole. And it's a well. And we open up, we just buy abandoned wells, and any old person or anyone else can go up to it and say the pornography they want, and it comes out of the well. And I figured we could partner if Alan wants to talk about this, because we need the portal technology. And do you know what wizards need? They need expensive tools and other alchemical things and random materials and stuff like that. And you know what Alan has no interest whatsoever in doing? Running a business. So if she can set up the portals, we can split the revenue. So country's making more money.
Yeah.
Ravenloft and the portal people can like upgrade the school stuff because they've got some income. We could even say all the money from Pornhut goes to school and save up some for that fucking magic school we're starting that has no budget.
Yes, the budget is a bit of a concern there, but I do have some thoughts. Okay.
And then we make all the custom pornography and send it out, like speed paintings and things like that. So old people can say specifically what they want and bam, it shows up. But we
Wait,
can
how does it show up? What do you mean?
Through the portals.
Yeah, but what shows up?
The pornography.
But in what form?
What form do you think pornography comes in, Juniper? I thought you were worldly.
No.
What form do you think
Yeah.
pornography comes in?
Well,
Because you've asked me about how sex works, so I'm just...
Sometimes there's like there's paintings and drawings, people like that for pornography,
okay, yeah.
and some people like dirty written things like erotica. That happens a lot.
Okay, yeah.
And then sometimes people like, I don't know, gems or crystals that can project a scene of their favorite pornography.
Have you consumed any of this before?
No.
Okay, because I was having a hard time. Like, you
Yeah.
have a pretty comprehensive understanding of pornography, but like,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
The
you can't
deed
be
itself
you cannot be a mercenary and not have a pretty comprehensive understanding of pornography. That's,
okay, yeah, sure.
That's like a sacred currency between mercs.
Okay, so
What do you think? We're giving each other coin? No, everybody's too cheap. You're trading pornos.
I don't know. You kiss each other, so like,
That's just saying hello. I don't know why
think-
you're making this weird.
do you feel weird? I don't feel weird.
Well, it just feels. I thought you guys knew all this stuff. You guys don't know anything about mercenaries.
Not a lot.
Regardless, side businesses aren't something that the three of you need to be particularly concerned about. I'm
But
happy
then I
to
thought we
try
could
and get this.
broadcast giant videos from our porn holes.
I understand that. You understand the content portal, though, is providing a tremendous amount of information. It's essentially an interlinked library.
I understand, but I don't have an ability to do that.
Do we know
So-
who owns that?
We've learned from talking to our crew that they're installed by the Good Works company, but they are owned and operated by Porn Hut, which just rebranded to Content Hut and is, I think, now receiving Palantir funding. But previously, they were a privately held corporation. There are plenty of those in Faerun.
I have a list of Good Works businesses in my inventory. If I were to refer to it, do I see Porn Hut on there, or is that like a new acquisition?
It's not one of their holdings. They just do the work. They build, they've constructed and installed porn huts, but they're not involved in the company. You think of them as like a contractor, basically, who's just hired to build a thing.
Okay. Annan, are you aware of who's contracted the Good Works people to build these porn huts? Like, I want to know, like,
But Porn Hut itself, the company Porn Hut
Company
hired
Porn
them
Hut
to,
still
which is
exists
now
as
Content,
Content Hut.
Hut. Yes, they've rebranded. That said, with the amount of upgrades they've been, I mean, like they're a business that's been around for a long time.
yeah.
And they've had whatever they have wherever they have it, but they seem to have a recent influx of money along with the rebranding. Like, it's getting to be now that there are content huts where there were no content huts previously, possibly because they don't have the word porn in their name anymore, which does, needless to say, make them a little bit more tolerable for large public spaces.
So we should call it the hot hole.
Sure.
Then it doesn't have porn in the title.
Good.
Our porn
Good.
holes.
He's making a good point.
Okay.
I say that maybe 3 times a year, but this is one of those 3.
Right.
From a business
Maybe
perspective.
we should workshop the name.
Okay.
Regardless, the key thing here is that the Plantiers have money. The entire nation is run by wizards. I'm sure they have plenty, although to your point, Butthole, they likely use a lot of it on components and other things. But we know that the Plantier nation, though somewhat cut off, is powerful. They live well. They've just previously kept all that money within their own borders. If Mavis and the captain and whoever else they have on their team are making investments throughout Faerun, there's very little we can do. The money is clean. It's just assholes spending it.
Well, see, this is why I want to talk to Cormium, because maybe he'll have a different idea for how to disseminate both our meanings and perhaps pornography.
Okay. And I'd like to talk to you more about Good Works and the Content Hut company, where their head office might be.
I don't have a tremendous amount of information about that, Quinny. We would have to do research.
I want to research that.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're a company with global reach. That's about all that I know. They had a partnership with the Shag Nasties Club in the Oasis, which is about as much as I know about them. They were also offered throughout the Oasis as a pay-per-view channel, but that was purely linked to, again, the company running the Oasis at the time set up all those deals. I merely managed them and had to deal with people coming back and saying, "What is this charge on my bill? I surely didn't order this." And then having to explain that it was watched for several hours and yes, you did. Or, if someone was clearly embarrassed about it, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, you actually watched Ernest Scared Stupid for 3 hours. This is a misbilling, but it did cost you 80 gold." So,
Right. Okay.
yeah, that sort of thing. But again, there are plenty of companies throughout the world that we haven't had any money or need to contact or deal with. Line Shield Provisions has a national presence along the Sword Coast, but there are other companies and things that we'll just have to start dealing with for basic necessities as we go. We're no longer in a place where we can just buy 3 crates of swords and be good. So if you want to look, I will say these contractors have been excellent. The work they do is good. Their prices are fair, and they haven't seen any lollygagging, which is rather impressive from a work crew, particularly in a place like Asgard that's new and starting up and frankly very easy to rob of time. But yes, I'm also happy to just introduce you to this work crew that installed the Cerebro system and is working on the fonts for the signage outside.
Sure, yeah, that'll be great, thanks.
Right. Okay, so Butthole, you'd like to speak to Cormium. Juniper, do you want me to set up a meeting here with this Lexi person, or are you going to go find her?
Yeah, if she's not too busy with everything that's going on in the market. I know I kind of threw that at her.
I see. Should I send Miss Two Eyes out to find her?
Yeah, I think Patty will be able to assess what's best.
Famous last words. Okay, so we'll send Patty Two Eyes to find Lexi. Quinny, you and I can meet to speak about the work crew who's been doing the deinstallation and installation of the content hut. And Butthole, would you like to meet Cormium here or see him at his apartment?
Whatever he'd prefer. Because, yeah, I got to meet Reginald, the heroes, Mo, Cormium.
And I'm coming with you to meet Cormium.
Why?
Right? I thought we were going to talk about... No, we're not.
Talk about what? What did you want to talk to him about? I'm sorry, I'm
Communication plan?
Oh, I got to offer him a job first. So, like, I could just talk to him, and then we can figure out comms afterwards if you want.
You were talking about talking to him before I spoke with Lexi about the songs and such.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he wants to do it. So, yeah, we could talk to him. Sorry. I had a whole idea of how this day was going to go, and then we ended up just talking it all out in advance, so my brain is a bit fried. But sure, yeah, sure. Let's just go meet. If Cormium's willing to take the invitation, sure.
Great. So, heading to Cormium first, and Quinny, you're going to talk to Crendon?
Yeah, I'll start with Crendon.
Okay, great. Butthole and Juniper, you make your way to Cormium's apartment. It's not in the noble area of town. Mm-hmm. It's kind of just a close-ish to the castle in one of the more kind of merchant class. I want to say apartment building, but that's probably too grand. It's more like just a multi-story situation. Somewhere very innocuous, in a witness protection kind of way. Just a smart place to put someone that isn't too obvious or clear. The only indication that there's anyone of import to the nation on any of the floors is when you kind of take the lift up to the 4th floor. There are hammers. The floor has been cleared. There's hammers outside the door. And, of course, seeing both of you, they escort you through. You come to a door, like all the other doors, the exception being that there is a welcome mat out in front of it. It just says Blood for Tempest on it. And it appears to have been recently, beaten and washed a bit. So it's not, a filthy doormat. This is a newish doormat. How do you approach the door? What do you do?
I go up and knock. Pretty basic.
Do you need water or a snack out there?
No, it's
oh, shit.
It's Butthole.
Shuffling and cleaning.
Oh, sorry. I thought Anna was going to send you notice. Yeah, I hope it's okay. Otherwise, I could go.
How would she have sent note? Oh, you know what? Hang on. You're shuffling. Hang on. Clinking of glasses. Clearly trying to clean up really quick. Thought you were a hammer. Sorry. Hang on. Then he goes and opens the door. He's wearing just a basic tunic, comfortable looking pants. He looks deeply out of place in it. You know, it's like anytime, this is a weird poll, but we've already made a bunch of King Charles jokes on the show. It's like when one of the royals from England tries to wear blue collar clothes for something, and they just look deeply it's not like they seem physically uncomfortable. It's just they don't really know how to wear a jumpsuit. It's like.
Yeah.
What do I do with all this? So he looks vaguely uncomfortable in this rather comfortable looking outfit. And it's just a small kind of neat but meager apartment. And you can see he's desperately trying to fancy it up a little bit, but there's nothing to fancy it up with. So just clearly a work in progress. And he says, Your Highness, Chief Justice, welcome.
Hey, yeah. No, I just kind of, I guess I'm always the king. Just wanted to have a quick talk with you about a possible job offer. I don't know what you're up to, what you're interested in, but figure we could talk it out.
Oh.
If you're interested, otherwise we can just like fuck off.
No, please don't fuck off. I just... yes, a job would be great. I was hoping to talk to you about non-job things, but a job is yes, I will earn my way, earn my keep, as it were. Does this job come with money? I would like to make some small improvements to the workspace. Please come in.
Yeah.
Would you like water, tea, or a snack? And you can see that the tea is a disaster. There's like 6 tea bags in like a bowl, and he's filled it with sink water. Like, he doesn't know how the fuck to do any of this stuff. And he has like a bunch of crackers and has just like dumped jam on them.
No, I'm good, but thank you for the offer. Yeah, to be clear, I'd hoped to have more social stuff, but then time kind of got away from me, and a bunch of people had their own things going on, and I didn't. It's fine. I'm a little bit frazzled, but it's fine. So looks at Juniper, looks back at Cormium, and is like, this is not an environment where I can have the normal, like, one-on-one social thing that I can normally do. She needs to be here for propaganda purposes, though. It's hard to be a king and an individual at the same time and be like, okay, so Captain Plantier, or Captain whatever the fuck his name is now, and that goddamn gnome have been broadcasting stuff through Terrell Portal all over the planet, I assume. I don't know the reach of the Goodworks Corporation, which means already, even though it's been like 3 days, everybody loves that fucking psychopath, which is like a problem because I'm pretty sure, A, he's still evil, what with your unfortunate cursing, etc., and B, he's going to eventually want to stomp us. There's not really a question on that one for me. So I don't really have the ability to battle that because I am not word smart and not great at optics, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yes.
None of us really have much strategy or experience in swaying large groups of people that we're responsible for over long periods of time.
We're pretty good at large groups of people we're responsible for.
Short
it's people who
periods of time.
don't know us and
Yes.
people we haven't met yet.
Respectfully, when we were... And again, he's like constantly testing his mouth as he says this. He said, as we were, test his mouth, hasn't melted, observing and studying your group before your ascension, I suppose, this was an issue that we identified as a potential weakness, but also a potential strength. It would seem that given the opportunity to be hands-on and helpful, individual groups and indeed leaders like Queen Doddle will flock to you. But yes, you are correct. Your reach is rather limited beyond demonstrations of... And he kind of like gestures out the window to the Black Castle, where you do see work crews now up on scaffolding, like working to actually make the future freedoms like legible, because they were just like carved into black stone. So they're like working to like, beautify and spray paint in gold filigree and other shit so it actually is legible. You lead by example, but that isn't a wide-reaching message. Whereas someone, checks his mouth, so far so good, creating large, flashy heroics is an easy thing to point to. It's easy for people to wrap their heads around that. It's not as complex as a giant former murder fortress covered in delightful ideals that can only be read at close range. So yes, this is an issue.
Okay, so we need to increase the
but
font.
There is, yes, well, that would help. But the kinds of things you do have a far deeper and more lasting impact. This was one of the threats that we identified. Once you have befriended a nation, they're unlikely to betray you. Even when Neverwinter was under the sway of a collection of mercenary groups under Pol Ka, they were still loyal to you. And granted, they've traded hands back to the young Lord Neverember now, but that group should have stabbed you in the back so hard. I would have. But they were loyal to you. So whatever you're doing seems to garner a great... I mean, I'm a perfect example of this myself. The fact that I would crawl on my hands and knees back into the home of my enemies after betraying them is, again, speaks to the caliber of your character. But yes, you do need to find a way to get that out to people so that they have an alternative, say, to the flashy heroics. Just understand it is harder and it is a much more complex message.
Yeah, I understand. And so here's the thing. We have next to no money, and we have none of the skill sets required, and we have no delivery methods in place.
We have one bard who's a big fan.
Oh, that's a start.
I mean, it's all a start. Man, it's impossible to build something when there are other people in a meeting. He's just thinking like, God damn it, the one-on-one, this would have been so easy. It's just,
Juniper is not clocking
I'm
this at all.
aware. Yeah, this is all just internal for himself. There's just like longer pauses than normal in Butthole's like attempt at monologuing to a point.
Cormium sips his bowl of tea and like just his face twists, but it's the best he can do.
All Butthole's trying to do is show up to someone who speaks elegantly and speak elegantly, and he's realized his companions do not let him build very long to a point before they interrupt him on semantics. And he's like, okay, note to self, I gotta do some stuff solo. Did not embarrass myself when I need to impress Cormium.
Juniper's just being helpful, man.
Yeah. So,
No, that's where everybody's at. And he's like, the question is, you've got a lot of skills, and they've been used generally for being tremendously handsome and then betrayal. But it also means you're very good at reaching out to people and speaking to them and figuring out what's going on. And you really match the story that I ultimately believe Asgard is about, which is the chance to become something new and better. And I don't want any like random attacks on the Plantiers at like a national level, because that'd be weird, and you can't even say them. So it's kind of guaranteed that it's got to be about our message and not just trying to tear down theirs. Would you like to become our Minister of Communications and wage a like communicative / marketing / propaganda battle with Mavis, whatever the fuck her name is, and do you want to do that?
he laughs for a moment, takes another sip of his tea, which kills the laughter because it's disgusting. Just tepid and oversteeped, and it puts it back down and says, forgive me, Butthole, the concept of being the minister of a department of Asgard is very silly. But I suppose all of this is. So is having scoop hands.
Yeah, because we can give you a seat at the high table when we have the national meetings. We can either keep it quiet or we can announce it.
Just like, again, live. Like, this is really one of the, like, just so I can talk through my process here. For his perspective, it's like, I came here hoping they wouldn't kill me. It's like, you want to run shit? And he just kind of says, yes, I will do it. I have a couple of conditions.
All right, let's hear them.
First, I need wardrobe befitting the position. This is embarrassing.
All right, we might have to meet on the middle on that because we're a little tight on budget, but I'll talk with Annan.
Whatever is befitting of your council is fine.
Okay.
I found these in the closet, and though they are comfortable and functional,
Yeah, you look
I
great.
hate them. Oh, well, then I suppose I can't hate them entirely. Second, given my current affliction, gestures to his mouth, there will be limits to how I'm able to assist you in this, but if the goal is to get the story of Asgard out into the world, that I can likely do without running afoul of any situations I find myself unable to speak to or about.
Yeah, it just means we got to stay classy. You know, it's about what we're trying to do that's good. It's not about tearing other people down, you know?
It is on this particular point that the one whose name you can't remember, whose name I can't say, the little one.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
differed rather greatly. So yes, that will not be a problem for
Evil
me.
stinky water.
And just like eyes dart up, like shitting on her makes him really happy. So yeah, he Cormium will remember that. Appears in the bottom left corner. And he says, and finally, I need someone to explain how to make tea. I don't want them to do it for me. That's not what I'm about anymore, but I desperately need assistance. And like his shoulders tense as he says like he needs help, but he says, I'm trying to be better about asking for such things.
Okay, well, that I think sounds doable. Here's what I wanted to offer you. In exchange for the role. I wanted to know if you wanted to do it with nothing being attached to it, because I'm aware that it can be tricky financially in these circumstances, and we don't want to like maneuver people into decisions that are good or bad with no choices, really. He says, looking at Juniper directly in the eyes. Yeah.
She's like, what?
He looks back to him and says, so if you want, because if this position is going to go public, like if people are going to know that you're doing this, then we probably need you to be within the palace so we can keep you away from the Captain Dickhead and his tiny minion. We could give you an apartment in the palace. You would have access to, like, we can get you a wardrobe, we can get you all that, we can get you, like, a stipend of some kind, and you'd have access to the palace staff. If you're nice to them, if you're rude, you don't get any staff. But they could help you learn how to make food, and they could help you with some of it, and they could help you learn how to sort out the apartment and all that stuff. Patty Two Eyes, she's got a decent staff. Mm-hmm. So you'd have people around who could help and or do that. So probably better security, as much safety as I can offer. There's only so much we could do, and stuff.
And he puts his hand on your hand and just says, "You had me at safety," which you said last, so it took a while. Forgive me for coming in hard with a demand up front in home.
Well, I feel like you're used to pretty transactional relationships.
If you aren't negotiating up front, it's considered strange, and then people really start to look for the dagger. So, you kind of gotta. So I those terms sound wonderful. It is vaguely absurd to me that I'll be living in the Palace of Asgard, but in somewhere that isn't a prison. But yes, I would recommend that perhaps the publicizing of my name not be front of mind for this, given the reputation my people have here, given the whole
Yeah, I figured I'll let you figure out however you want to announce whatever you want to announce. Annie can help you with process, so she'll kind of have an eye on it. We'll be able to give you pretty free range of the palace. You just won't be able to go into the portal bunker. You won't be able to go into the armory.
And
obviously, like nobody else's bedroom. The hand.
Yes, the hotel front desk person that you carry around with you.
The most powerful person in this realm, other than me.
This is a fascinating and strange place. Very good. Yes, Nope, I don't need to be on behalf of anything anymore. On behalf of myself.
There we go. That's pretty good.
I accept and am grateful. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Chief Justice. Thank you, Your Highness. It will be nice to be somewhat closer. Although, I've put so much work into this place. And he just gestures to the apartment that he's done nothing with. He's
looks great.
Moved the drying rack. And
good for you. Yeah, so I have to go because I have a lineup of meetings, but Juniper has a song getting written about our time in Baldur's Gate, which is where I think we did a bunch of heinous war crimes. So maybe you want to work with her on how we're going to phrase that in a way that isn't just a listing of war crimes. That'd be cool.
I see. Juniper, you said you have one very eager, enthusiastic bard.
Oh, she's big fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to step out. You guys got this.
Oh, goodbye.
Goodbye. Walks out.
Goodbye. Shit. Perhaps you seem to have an idea of this already. I don't want to interfere. I'm also not entirely sure how best to represent you and your group yet. It is, I know a lot of your group's strengths and weaknesses, but not what you see or think about yourselves. It's one thing to have been on the other side and then to come to this side. So if you have an idea of what you want, perhaps you and this bard should work on this together. And then maybe I can give notes.
Oh, that's fine. It's a little tricky because I was there, but I wasn't there. It was Echo, so I know. I mean, I don't want the war crimes to be front and center, but Echo's really excited about that, and she has the details.
Well, it would seem to me then, this is an issue between personas. Forgive me, we've done a lot of research into you and your friends. This is an issue between personas wherein
it is.
You observed but were not a part of, and the different personas have different desires. Yes.
I just, Juniper might be missing the flavor of it.
I see. My siblings and I used to have a similar issue. Our various elemental proclivities often led to different personality quirks. There's been some debate amongst the Plantaria as to whether that was, whether it's a choice or a genetic trait. My understanding is that, if you realize you're really good at moving rocks, you just start to like rock-related things, and suddenly you have you're stubborn and you're bullheaded. I don't think that's necessarily what they were born with. They just kind of, embraced it and adopted it. But it did lead to a lot of these sorts of situations. What we would often do is bring in one of our more magically adept bards. We would each explain our situation to them, and then they would weave a collective story, essentially filter our experience through their own mind. We'd use their brain as a prism through which all of our colors shot, and the resulting story we would then all give notes on, and Igneous would give a lot, fiery tempered. But in any case, let Echo tell the story to this bard, but then Juniper should hear it and see if it's appropriate.
Sense.
And then you can bring it to me and we can have this discussion. I suspect your Echo, is that her name was?
Yes.
Might be perhaps a little too sharp for my particular temperament these days. I don't know necessarily how well she and I will get along. So perhaps better for me to discuss this with you than with her. If it is a matter of violence, then she and I can speak, but I don't really want to give notes to the murdery one, if that makes sense.
I mean, she's not murdery all the time.
And yet you're worried about her conveying war crimes with glee to a bard?
Yes.
I see. So if I were to tell her, hey, maybe cool it on the war crimes a bit, she'd be fine with that?
I mean, she might pout, but...
You see, it was the conversation about playing knives and the amount of blood spilt that kind of concerns me.
It's not a lot of blood.
Any amount of blood is concerning when you're a prisoner. Just saying. But
Yeah, but
fine.
you're not a prisoner.
Maybe I've misjudged your Echo. She just seems rather spooky. And I say that as someone who, and his mouth melts. Like just Charlie Browns it to the sky. And then as his jaw comes back, says, someone who is in proximity to large, unpredictable powers.
Right. She's very small. And once you get to know her, she's pretty predictable.
I see. Well, then perhaps I also need someone to train me on how best to play knives. She mentioned a Zabiana.
Yes,
Is this the information broker from Baldur's Gate?
She is.
Has she transplanted here?
She's here now. She actually played with Echo the other night. Oh, it was lovely.
I shall endeavor to speak to this Zabiana then. Learn to play knives, befriend your Echo. Regardless, the war crime song, I would rather speak to you.
I understand. That does make sense.
Excellent. Well, good luck.
Okay.
I have had many songs composed for me, but I've never attempted to compose one myself. I have no idea how that process goes, and I'm rather jealous that other people know. So good luck. I hope it sounds nice.
Thank you, and thank you for your willingness to help and share your expertise.
Well, as you said, I have to find something new after all, so I'm just trying various things on. Gestures to the tunic. They don't all fit, but we try our best.
Maybe ask Bucky.
He is the sidekick who is not the monster that...
Yes.
I see.
He's good at getting things. He knows kind of everyone.
Ah, yes,
And
the
he can
power
run
behind the throne.
Really fast.
Oh. Not one for running myself, but yes, that is good to know. Thank you. I will speak to this Bucky as well. Good luck with your song, Chief Justice. I have to pack up. Looks around the room and says, well, we did it.
All right. Talk soon. Thanks.
Thanks,
Cormium.
Chief Justice, one final question before you go. Is there a particular gift or pleasantry or snack that the king is fond of?
Oh, anything that his wolf might like? I mean, a gift to his wolf? Goblin Jr.?
So a gift for something else would feel like a gift for him?
Just doing a kindness for his close animal companion.
I see, but would that not just endear me to the wolf, not the man?
Both. It would do both.
So a kindness for the wolf
Yes.
will feel like a kindness to the man. He will be
Yes.
happy that I did something nice for his wolf.
Yes.
Okay. I will endeavor to do that.
Yeah. Or else.
Very strange.
What does he like? What does Butthole
No,
like?
that's fine. I've
I've never given him a gift before.
Oh. Well, I suppose we have that in common then too.
I guess when you're kind of, on the run and fighting people and escaping zombie hordes, it's hard to carve out space to, celebrate each other.
I will admit I haven't given a lot of gifts in my time either, so this is something perhaps we can work on together. I'll let you know how the wolf gift goes. I don't think wolves like crackers. This disgusting mound of cracker jam.
Probably not.
Okay, I will work on that as well. Thank you,
Okay.
Chief Justice. Good luck.
Thanks, Cormium. Bye. See you later.
Goodbye. Just close the door.
Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah. And with that, you wheel your way down the hall. And meanwhile, Quinny, you have arrived in the hospital to meet Crendon, our teen wolf companion, only to arrive on the floor and be assaulted by a projectile. Huh? Crendon has thrown you a basketball.
Oh, shit.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, and Laura Hamstra, alongside our Dungeon Master, Tom McGee. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC.com. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum-Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: George Dolby, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Alarain Okapi, Madre de Gatos, Mithrian, Garbo Ape, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dia de los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Remy Funky Head, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, Megan Werner, A Man Out of Time, Curtis at FingerTechRobotics.com, Panda24NN, Shendra D, Your Homeboy Bones, Ellis Hatch, Odigenous, Kai Koa, Squire Solaire, Sandy Sassy Pants, Amira Lockhart, James Molina, Nick Hemsing, Alex LaFountain, Mickey Blake, Seth Cambron, Corpse Knight Silver, Adamir 101, The Dankler, Anticore 7, Lady Destiny Stormbringer, Randall Eberly, the Yes Bud of improvisational comedy, Lord Taser, Funky Stevie, J. Robert the Mad Fox, Dagger Rain, Derek Wintenberg, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.